Hey, my name is Sebastian. I'm the CEO of Normative. I'm based in our London office, but I regularly come to our Stockholm office about once or twice a quarter. I spent the last 20 years growing technology companies in the US, in Europe, in Asia. And I think that the climate crisis is one of the most urgent problems of our time. I've spent the last 4 years looking for the right way to contribute. I invested in about a dozen climate companies. I've done some advisory work in about half a dozen more. And I even tried to create 2 carbon capture companies before joining Normative in October last year. And I'm also a keen amateur pianist and a father of 3 daughters. When you look at the impact of rising carbon emissions on the climate, it's very obvious the pressure to decarbonize, to reduce emission, is only going to go up. And we can't do that without knowing exactly where the carbon is coming from. And that's exactly what Normative does. Normative is a company where we are building carbon accounting as an industry to figure out exactly what actions drive what carbon emission. And so when I learned that Christian was stepping down, I thought Normative is probably the place where I personally can have the most impact on the climate crisis. Normative's mission is to make known and reduce the sustainability impact of all economic activity. What does it mean? Well, make known means we want to shine a bright light on carbon emissions and understand as much as we can, using the best methodology, what activity within companies in driving what emission. And reduce obviously means that we want to use that data to plot a path toward net zero carbon emission. It's not going to be easy. It's going to take some time. And not all companies are quite there yet, but that's our long-term goal. I think the main opportunity for Normative is to help customers go beyond regulatory requirements and actually use their sustainability strategy, their carbon strategy, to drive real growth for their business, to turn it into a source of competitive advantage. Don't get me wrong, regulatory frameworks are important. They help structure what companies do. They also help create some urgency. But they are not an end, they are just a mean to an end. And the end is actually to have an impact on emissions. And I think today there is an entire new narrative where we can actually help companies use that data, the sustainability data, to drive more growth. It's true with customers, for example. We can help people grow faster. Most consumers today are conscious about the sustainability strategy of the brand they buy from. But that's also true in the B2B world. Today, 75% of the FTSE 100 is including environmental disclosures as part of their tendering process. That's also true of investors. Most investors in Europe, 90% of investors in Europe, include ESG in their consideration for investment. And after they've invested into your company, you have to disclose high quality environmental data. And last but not least, employees, your colleagues, today companies that can show they have a positive impact on the environment, everything else being equal, attract more and higher quality candidates. And that's what we can do at Normative. We can help companies harness sustainability for their growth. So I've been in tech for more than 20 years now, and I've observed over and over again that success requires to learn and iterate faster than competition and faster than the market can change. And that's true in general, but that's also true at Normative. It's about shots on goal. How do you create an environment where people are curious and try new things at pace and at scale every single day? Not all of these experiments will pay off. Actually, most of them don't pay off, and that's fine. But if everybody in the company takes that approach, if everybody tries new things, experiment, then slowly big changes will happen, and we will build a radically different company that has a market-leading product. And it's about working harder and smarter every single day, although not necessarily longer. And that's the culture required to build a new industry from scratch and solve big problems. At Normative, we're trying to create a culture that is going to have 3 attributes. 1, high standards. No matter what the role is, no matter what your job is, we want people who are going to have incredibly high standards for themselves and the work they produce. And it doesn't matter whether they're climate strategists or engineers or salespeople. We want people who will never settle for just good enough. The second attribute is pace. We want people who can execute at pace, try things at pace, and understand that doing something 90% now is often way better than waiting forever to get something perfect. We want people who will be obsessed with impacting things as quickly as possible. And last but not least, we want a respectful environment. We want people to join and know that them and their work is going to be respected, and they're going to have room to grow and develop as professionals. And equally, the other way around, we want people who are going to join and be respectful of their colleagues, of the company, and of the mission that we set for ourselves. If you are ambitious, if you want to work on something meaningful with smart and dedicated colleagues, if you like to challenge yourself, learn new things, and experiment, let's talk. Normative is most likely a place for you. Excellent.